there folks, it's Kikoskia here and welcome back to Let's Ultra Deluxe play the Stanley Parable. And when last we left off we went out in search of new endings, but the narrator sidetracked us into collecting all the figurines again. And then we collected them all again in reverse. There was also a pink room that's not in the game. Although technically it is in the game now because we went to it in that ending. And what an ending it was. The narrator has ominously stated that we're going to be doing this one more time, and then Stanley will be retired for good. But that's not true. You can still go through the game as many times as you like. Maybe the narrator has a change of heart. Maybe the narrator never meant it in the first place. Or maybe we're in the memory den forever. Does it matter? Probably not. What does matter is finding new things. Some of which I didn't know about until today. Let's go!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Perhaps we had.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
It's always a good idea to see if there are any more inputs we need to input. And now, the bucket. We'll be leaving the bucket today. And by today, I mean this run-through. It's not going to be that long. Or will it? It might be. Let's go onwards, forwards, and to the left.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or maybe we'll go to the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
And that's what we're going to do.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
It is pretty well put together. Look at those sofas being there. Fine placement.
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Let's keep moving.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
We're going to do this.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
And we will. See? We're right here. It's like we never took that detour at all.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
It feels different not having the figure collecting club here. Also, someone knocked over their coffee cup. It's a good thing too, because that means this piece of paper is hiding these numbers going down. Those numbers going down are pretty bad. Ah, I can see what they are. Average employee pension plan, standard employee salary, primary management salary, puppy dog salary. Why have we lowered the puppy dog salary? That's just terrible. Please do not steal. Couldn't steal it even if I wanted to. It seems to be glued to the table. There's a TPS report. This page contains no information. I beg to differ. There's loads of words on that, or at least things that look like words. We're gonna head up.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
That we did. And we went this way. Now. No input to input here. Concerning. Very concerning. There's still an ending involving those inputs that we haven't had.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Shocked.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
No idea.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course,
secretive.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Incredibly
He stepped into the
amazing.
newly opened passageway.
Now let's go down the lift and not head back up. For there's something here that we haven't done yet. Something here incredibly important. And that something is not doing the standard ending, though there is something new there.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
That we do.
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
That's what you think, narrator. We have somewhere to go, and it's not where you think.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
It's not this way. It is this way, but not this way. You'll see. There's a button. And if we're careful, we can do this. We can get on this button. And what do we do when we get on the button? Okay, we'll press the button first.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with televisions.
Woohoo!
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength? Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome!
Hello!
You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development.
Ah.
And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates.
It does.
Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you.
Yay!
I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are.
I am?
We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier.
Yeah!
Chase your dreams. Railings don't mean anything.
They're good for safety.
Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
Yeah! What a song! That was totally worth it. But you know what else is worth it? Bringing the bucket along!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nothing there. What about over here? There is Bucket!
Now this, Stanley thought to himself, this is a bucket. And indeed it was.
It is! Also, input here. I keep messing this up. But, if we just... There we go. Input received! Now let's go over here. And to the left.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
And go
entered
back
the door on his
to the
left.
bug ending. That is no longer a bug ending. It's an actual ending. With a fancy
Still
song.
no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Perhaps it is.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Need to figure out that input ending. We could do that by constantly resetting the game when we need to. I feel like this is going to be important. Either way,
Stepping into his manager's
let's
office,
go!
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
Oh,
life.
did it wrong.
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
Indeed!
Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yes!
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Makes sense to me! Alright, let's head down. Bucket, I have an ending to show you, and I think you'll like it. It's got a cool song!
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
You know what else is here for us? The hidden fall down the
Stanley
hole
and the
ending.
bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
That we did! Let's go! Alright, Bucket. You may think we're going to be doing the secret disco ending, but I've shown you that! Watch. Look! I'm on the table!
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
We'll never know because hoo-hoo!
But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall.
It does work!
Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed.
Oh!
It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis.
Well, I like those.
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home.
Oh, this is
In
nice.
fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this.
No.
The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path.
No!
It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending.
Do we?
This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground.
It's a nice hole.
The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
And then... here we are, back. And now we could go look for those inputs.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So nothing here. Double check.
No matter how hard Stanley looked,
Yep,
he couldn't
definitely
find
nothing
a
here.
trace of his co-workers.
Alright, Bucket. You and me. Let's go.
Finally, yes, the bucket. Yes, yes, yes. I love that bucket.
It's a good bucket. Okay, input here. So we have a second input there. In theory, we could just restart. And go look for the third input, which is not here. Thought I'd check just to make sure it's
All of his
not
co-workers
there.
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Always worth checking that one. Okay. Bucket again.
One man, one bucket. One chance to seize their destiny together.
Indeed. Right. Nothing here. So, let's move forward and find another computer. Let's go back to the boss's office.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
There are no computers over that way. There's not a computer here either.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
And there's no computer
Perhaps
in
his
there.
boss's office was where he... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay, here we are. Yes. Input here. Now, I need to find the fourth input. Where is the fourth input? Let's find out, shall we? We will begin the game again. And search.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
There!
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There it is.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Input received. Now we just need to find the final one. Begin the game again. Oh. Things are a bit different here. Very different. But we have this here. Welcome, Stanley, to heaven. Buttons! We can press all the buttons. Behold, buttons. We can press them all. Press every button. Unfortunately, we cannot bring the bucket to button heaven. Why? Because the final input is by a computer. I think all the buttons depress over time. There are an infinite supply of buttons here. Okay, it's not infinite, but it might as well be. For all you people that love pressing buttons, this is the ending for you. Look at it, marvel at it. There are buttons, more buttons than you could possibly button. Who's got the button? Stanley has the button. Stanley has all the buttons. Where do we get food? It doesn't matter. Buttons. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Only buttons matter. Only buttons. There is more that we could do, however. Not here, but there's more that we can do. There are still a few more endings. Still a few more things. And one of those things is going to involve dealing with all of the settings. We are not yet the settings world champion, but we can be. Not yet, but we can be. Are we slowly approaching the end of what the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition has to offer? Possibly. But does it matter when we're surrounded by buttons? Probably. Because we can't be surrounded by buttons forever, folks. It's just not our fate. It's not our fate. And when we come back, folks, we will seek out more things that we can look at. How? By going back in time and bringing things to places where they shouldn't be. The end of the game is coming in sight. But we have a little bit more left to do. A little bit more. How much more? We'll find out. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not. And if you are subscribed, press that bell for those notifications. And I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later. Buttons. Oh, now I'm starting to get buttons on the brain. Better go press them just to be sure that I... Just for the fun of it. Let's go. Buttons!